You probably clicked this video because you feel like you've been living life on autopilot. It's the same year over and over. The same job, same complaints, same friends, same location. Maybe every year there's slightly different branding or a different aesthetic. Maybe it's a slightly healthier version of yourself. You work out, your job's kind of better. You don't hate your manager as much as you hate your last manager. That's all fine and dandy, but deep down, you still feel unfulfilled. You feel numb. You are not waking up every day with a complete and utter zest for life and passion and childlike joy because you've woken up and have been given one of the best gifts ever, the gift of life, another day. And every single year you say, this is gonna be the year that changes things. This year is gonna be different. But you know what? Nothing changes because while you don't feel happy, you're way too comfortable where you are to grow out of it. I'm here to tell you at whatever point you're watching this, this is the year that changes. You definitely do not need another vision board or planner. What you do need is a complete plot twist. This upcoming year will not be another filler episode of your life. Not if you actually choose that it won't be. And listen, I don't want you to say, yes, okay, I'm gonna watch this and lock in and then go do nothing with the information that you've been given. This is not one of those. We don't do that over here. If you're gonna do that, please leave now because there's no point on you wasting this time. Might as well go back to your comfortable life that you're not gonna change. If you're going to commit to a year of change and not live another filler episode and you can't commit to two things, watching this video in its entirety, and two, actually putting the things into action, which I'm gonna give you practical tips near the end, the year is not gonna change for you. So make the decision right now that you're going to not only watch this, but take what you've listened to and put it into practice. Because the one thing that's going to guarantee that you live another filler episode is a lack of ownership. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. So own your decision right now to actually make a change. Hello, my name is Danae. Super excited for today's yap. If you're watching on YouTube, by the way, you can also listen on Spotify. It's always linked in the description at Pretty Philosophical with Danae Seaton. And if you enjoy this video and want to be reminded of taking ownership of your life throughout the rest of the year, you can also sign up for my weekly newsletter. It's basically these episodes in written form on Crack directly in your inbox. That's also in the description. prettyphilosophical.com/Janae. So first of all, let's talk about why you feel like you're living on autopilot, why you feel like you're not the main character in your life. It's because you're the side character. You are not doing anything that moves the plot along, so you're uninteresting. Maybe there are little bits and time periods where you're, as a side character, you do something fun and interesting and that drives the plot along. But if you're watching a movie, you kind of forget that person at the end of the day. And that's what you're doing in your own life. Imagine that, your own precious life that you get one chance at. Pray to God that we all live long, beautiful lives. We don't know when our last day is. And right now, you're treating this precious gift to the lowest possible quality you could treat it. Like, why not make the most out of this gift? Wear the shoes to the ground. Really live your life fully. This is the mission that I've been on in the past, I would say 5 years of my life. I had 2 periods of doubling down, but the most integral kind of I'm going to make this my main character year season happened in 2021. If you've never listened to me before, in 18 months, I built a multi-6-figure freelance business and I've gone on to do a bunch of other things like this YouTube channel and blah, 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 blah. That happened when I made the intentional choice that I was tired of being the side character. And the reason that, let's say in 2020, when I had this little idea that I was tired, I felt this urge that I wanted to be the main character. The reason that I didn't really go through with the plan was because I was so comfortable in the life I was living and I was scared of challenge. I was scared of risk. My desire for the plot to change was not strong enough for the plot to change. But when you're watching a show, that nervousness that main character gives you because they decided to make an action that's a little bit risky, that is the reason why we like them. And the story progresses in a way that's interesting, that keeps us wanting to watch and never letting go and holding on to the emotions. That's the same kind of feeling that you want to implement into your own life. So you have to reach the point where you see the vision, you're done being the side character, but you're also willing to feel uncomfortable and be in this little place of tension. Hey cutie, sorry to interrupt our little yap session, but I do have some exciting news. I'm hiking in the French Alps right now. Beautiful view. Shout out freelancing for allowing me to do this. Actually, I know that a lot of you that watch me are interested in freelancing. You're not really sure how it's going to work, but you are desperately seeking to make 2026 and beyond your main character year, especially when it comes to your finances and work. So I've been putting together something super fun, main character year workshop, which is going to take place on November 24th. The link to sign up is in the description. Last time I held a workshop in July, over 300 of you showed out on the Zoom. Sign up before spots get filled up. Entering your main character year, building the freelance business that you want,
requires you to make an intentional decision to do so. It's not just going to happen out of thin air. So this is designed to be your first step and positioned perfectly. So you don't start on January 1st. You enter the new year with everything you need. Can't wait to see you guys there. Okay, back to yapping. Bye.
And I think for a lot of people, what happens, and this happened to me too, is that you stay in autopilot for so long because you confuse, let's say, healing with stalling. You're like, I'm healing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But really what you're doing is avoiding the actions you need to take to move the plot along. You can only heal so much without taking action. At some point, to get over to the next side, you have to take action. And in order to even know what you want and move the plot along in a fun and interesting way that is aligned, you have to take action, because you actually learn from the actions. Actually, to take the next action, you have to learn from the first action. There's only so much learning you can do just by thinking about something. You cannot be the passenger princess of your own life if you want to feel like the main character. I don't care if you don't want to drive, you live in a walkable city, yada, yada, yada. You can do whatever you want physically when it comes to being a passenger princess. But in your own life, as an analogy, you have to drive. In fact, you have to learn how to drive. And that's the big part. It goes back to action. You can heal all you want in your spirit and your soul. And by not really taking action, that period can last for a while. But soon you must learn how to drive, because healing is actually never ending. You're going to be constantly healing throughout your life. There's not a period where you're like, yep, I'm healed. Every single day you're going to have to battle that. So you need to learn how to drive through the pain, because there will be ebbs and flows. There will be periods where you feel like, yes, this is good. And then things will go back and it'll feel weird. You must learn how to drive. You cannot depend on other people to drive your life, your plot line along. And that's what most people do. They depend on romantic partners, jobs, and people to spice up their life. That's why they stay complaining about the same things over and over again, because that's what makes their life feel interesting. The passenger princess gets dragged through other people's life. The main character makes unpopular choices that drives their life along in a way that other people are like, wow, they're so magnetic. This is so interesting. Tell me, if you want to be the main character, start acting like one. And here's exactly how you're going to do it. First of all, you must work on all of these consistently, full stop. But what if this? Nope, doesn't matter. Every single one, non-negotiable. You must have complete ownership and take full responsibility over everything that happens in your life, the good and the bad, even if it doesn't necessarily make logical sense to say take responsibility over it. There should always be some percentage of, oh, I could have done this better in your failures. In every situation, a friend is mad at you, something doesn't work out. You have the mindset that no matter what, there is something that I owned this, therefore there is something that I could do to make this better in the future. And on the flip side, it works out better because when you win, you take full ownership of that and know, yes, I confidently did all the things to get this win. And you can fully own it because you own all your failures as well. It works in your favor in both ways. If you have the mentality that nobody is coming to save you and you must own your actions to get where you want. Of course, people and opportunities and things are going to come along the way, but when you have that mentality, nothing can break you down. You must reclaim complete agency over your life in every single area. You are never a victim. This is how you must live. You want to lose weight and you can't lose weight. Okay, this is what I've been doing and it's not working. Let's take ownership over this and see where I could be going wrong or what I don't know about my body or myself or what I'm doing to change things. We're never going to rely on some flippant, random excuse because it's easier to blame everything else, which leaves you with no responsibility over your actions. Do you understand? I want you, if you're not already taking notes, to write down some things that you are outsourcing responsibility to. Some things that you just flippantly put an excuse over, whether it's because you have a limiting belief or you just didn't put much thought into it. I just want you to write them down. What are some things I could take more ownership over so I could see a difference in those areas? Is it my relationships? Is it my finances? Is it my job? Where are you being passive? And what would not being passive in that area of your life bring forth? Like what would occur if you chose to be an active driver in those areas and took ownership over the outcomes of things? Even just tried. Maybe you take ownership and it doesn't work. That's the point, because then you're going to learn a lesson anyways, and it's going to help you get to the next stage. But at a bare bones, what areas are you just letting pass by and just being like, oh, it's this, it's that. I live in this city. We don't do that in this city. These are my genes, so this is not going to work for me. I've had this job for 10 years, so why would I leave? Ask yourself, really think about it. The longer you stay passive, the more Other people's decisions run your life. They choose your life for you. Side character energy. The plot in the side character's life moves along because of the main character. Main character energy requires consistent ownership. That's the weight, the burden you have to take on if you want the main character life. To me, it's worth it. You have to be willing because the burden or the result of the side character life is shitty life that you hate, that you feel numb in. So pick your poison, choose your hard. So regardless of whatever your goal is, there are 3 kind of things that you must have systems for set in place. And I'm going to kind of run through them quickly here and explain how I ensure that these systems are in place. And then I'm going to move on to talk about the most life-changing, important thing that you're going to do to have a main character year. Absolutely imperative that that's implemented. Okay, so 3 things. You need a system for your energy, meaning you need to ensure that you're getting good sleep, good nutrition, and you're guarding your mind. So I have videos on how to deal with all the addictions related to your phone. You need to implement, you need systems. So me, when I wake up, I do not go on my phone for at least an hour, more than that usually. My phone is on this mass D&D thing, so I don't see any notifications. And if I need to check something, like I'm going to the gym and I want to make sure my class or a trainer or whatever is there, I can check that app, but that's it. There's nothing going on there. I'm not listening to music or podcasts, only if I'm extremely tired and I just need some stimulation, because I don't really drink coffee before I eat. So that's a whole thing. That's my system. For sleep, I have a reminder. So 45 minutes before I'm about to sleep, phone gets shut off. I try to read. If that doesn't happen, at bare minimum, I have my app blocker, turn off all my apps so I'm not doom scrolling on any apps. So it makes it very easy for me to get bored off my phone and go to my freaking bed. I'm guarding my mind and my energy. You need a system for nutrition. So what are meals that you absolutely like, whole food meals that you like, that you can continue implementing so you're getting all your macronutrients, you're getting your fibers, you're getting your protein, etc. I have my staple breakfasts that I like that are super easy for me. Here's the thing. I hate cooking a hot breakfast in the morning because I don't want to be washing dishes and doing things like that in the morning. I just like to get on with my day. So I love an overnight oats, but obviously I want to stack my morning with protein so I stay fuller longer. So overnight oats allows me to have a lot of Greek yogurt. I have chia seeds, I have flax seeds. So I'm getting all these macronutrients in there and I'm still fulfilling that. So every season I can put different fruits on top of it in the morning. Perfect. Love it. That's a staple for me. Or I'll have boiled eggs and something else because it's less kind of cleanup. That's for me. Try things, but if you already have an intuitive understanding of what's going to work for you, build systems around that. That makes it easy for me because when I go grocery shopping, I know that in the mornings I eat overnight oats. So it's easy for me. I know exactly what I need to pick up. As soon as one of those things run out, I have a running list on my notes app where I'll put that thing in. So the next time I'm at the shop, I can open the running list and be like, okay, I need this, that, and that. Same thing for lunch and dinner. I have rotating meals for each season, and that's really powerful for me. I didn't just think, what do I want? I started by cooking long meals in the morning. I realized it created a lot of friction and I didn't like it. And then that was making me want to go buy food after I left the gym or something. So I'm trying things and iterating on that. We're going to talk about the feedback in a bit, but I think the system around energy is important. Number 2 is the output. So I already explained the scenario where if you wanted to focus on side hustle or whatever, you would implement a system to do the thing that you want to do effortlessly. So as a freelance marketer, I do client work and then I also have my own things. I have my business, She Freelances, I have my YouTube, I have different things. For me, the system that I implement to ensure that I'm getting both of those things done to the best of my ability is I ensure that I start my day with 2 hours focused on my ventures, and then I spend the rest of the, let's say, 2 hours doing client work, and we're good to go. As long as I have that general system in place, so no matter what it is, I know this, then this. What is my priority and why, and where are we going? So you create output systems, reverse engineer backwards from what you want. I eventually want to be earning more from my own ventures and passion projects. The freelance clients keep me afloat, keep the bills paid. The passion project revenue is continuing to increase because I have systems of allowing myself to focus on that, reverse engineering what I want. And then lastly, you need a reflection system. So that's what we're going to get into, the feedback. You need to constantly be reviewing what you're doing. I don't really like when people say you need to treat your life like a business or your relationship like a business. I understand it and it can help you conceptualize it better. But I think that as humans, we are nuanced, unique, and mystical in a sense, right? So I think that kind of dumbing it down to this bare bones logical thing can have diminishing returns because your humanity will always play into it, the emotions, the hormones. Trust me. As a woman, I know, I understand. But aspects like, auditing what's happening in the business can be really helpful. Because even if you do have those emotional periods or times when things go awry, you can always come back to the root and see, okay, where are we actually at and what can we actually work on to make this better or to change this? So my reflection, kind of auditing, feedback systems are as follows. I try my best to journal at least 2 times a week, usually more. It depends. There's seasons where I'm journaling almost every day, but at the bare minimum, I'm always going to journal 2 times a week. I like to stack things that make things frictionless, as we've been discussing. After the gym, I'll go to the sauna at least 2 to 3 times a week. So in the sauna, I will bring my journal and my pen. Sometimes there's people in there that might be like, oh, this girl's journaling. Like, this is my habit stack. I'm paying for the sauna. Or else I would have to create other time to do it. And there's not really a seamless period where I can do that. So that's kind of the way that I add it into my schedule. On top of reflecting, within those like minimum 2-week reflection journaling sessions, every single month, usually near the end of the month or on the first of the month, I will flip back to the things I wrote about that I wanted to work on based on the reflections I was having throughout the month, and then do the same thing. So I will reflect on the past month and say, okay, these are the things that went well. These are things I'm working on that I need to change, and make some mini goals or things that I want to focus on based on that period. And then I also have the yearly kind of main thing that I want to focus on. Okay, this main character energy this year is focused on this thing. And I make sure that everything that I'm doing throughout the months are reflected of that. So I might have specific months to focus on specific things, or I might be focusing on a couple at one time, but never more than 3, because it's a little difficult to sustain. You can't improve what you don't quantify. If I find that I'm journaling a lot about being tired and lack of sleep, I know that in the coming month, I need to make an effort to sleep more. That means I need to do X, Y, Z. And I'm reverse engineering that. If I'm thinking, oh, I'm feeling a bit nervous about money or I'm this and that, I'm going to say, okay, we need to sit down and really look at what we're spending, where we need to earn more. How can we earn more? What did you say you wanted last month? How did you want to feel? And did your behavior match that? Were you feeling really stressed and annoyed because your situationship was living in your head rent free for 90% of the time in the month? Maybe we should probably stop talking to him or her, whoever it is, right? That's why reflection is important, because you have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, well, I want it to feel like this and my actions said otherwise. Do I really want that? If you do, lock in. And you have to confront what is actually true, what really came out of the thing that you said you were going to do. So I have those weekly check-ins, the overall monthly one that I do once. And then the monthly one, I always reflect back to make sure that that is in alignment with what I wanted for the year. And if it's not, that's fine. Things change. You know, I like to say you never tie yourself to one specific identity, blah, blah, blah. That's true. So things may change. You might get 4 months into the year and be like, yeah, actually, this year I'm doing this. I learned this. This is what's happening for me. Cool. But make sure you're thinking back on what you want the theme of things to be. Okay. So we have the systems in place. Last but certainly not least, to ensure that this is your main character year, is avoiding getting into pickles. Listen, living my life in this way is one of the driving factors to why I've been living my main character year every single year since 2021. Oftentimes, more times than not, a human left unchecked will self-destruct. They will take actions. They will get themselves into pickles that ruin their lives, quite literally. That's why philosophy and religion and whatever I think is a net positive for most people. Just a basic routine or basic morals and values that you live by. Because if you don't have this guidance, oftentimes you'll just drift, and drifting puts you into pickles. The pickle is the guy with a promising life ahead of him who falls to a 10-minute bit of lust and then has a kid. He has his whole life ahead of him, and yeah, he can make it out. But that wasn't the main character year he was supposed to live. That was not the plot twist that he was looking for. It was something that could have been avoided, and he could have had it when he was in a better position and blah, blah, blah. It's the same girl who gets into the situationship with the guy who's absolutely not good for her because she couldn't stand being alone for the 2 hours after work when she's not eating dinner or watching a movie and before she's sleeping. Instead of putting that time into something that's going to push her life forward, and boom, you know, he's abusive or gets her into a situation that's sketchy and not good. And the storylines are endless. Those are the pickles. The pickles can be avoided. They don't even have to be that intense. The pickle can be you meet the wrong person, you spend 90% of every single day thinking about them, worrying about them, blah, blah, blah. They're not really matching your values anyway, so there's no reason for you to be worrying about them. And then you waste a whole year of your life. It can happen just like that. You literally waste a whole year because of one person. This is so common for people. Another, you scroll 10 minutes every morning, boom, you've lost 2,500 hours. Just a 10-minute scroll. And like that, you lost all of that. But not only that, it's the energy that you don't have during the day because you had that bad dopamine fulfillment so early on. It's probably not the correct words, but you know what I'm referring to. One small decision, getting yourself in one small pickle, can ruin your entire arc for the year, but also your life. And even if let's say you're on the path, one moment of distraction, not focusing on the main character arc, can make you lose tons of progress that you've made. I struggle with that because it's so easy sometimes. Like, I could get myself in this pickle. You kind of want to. There are things sometimes I'm like, I want to do that. But I literally cannot physically get myself to take the action because it's like, of all the progress I've made, it's just not worth it. It would be so unbelievably dumb of me. And then I have these morals and values, these philosophies from a faith sense, all these things that I'm following that keep me aligned. I want you to ask yourself, what tiny behaviors allow you to fall into your pickles usually? What are the pickles that came up in your head when I started talking about it? What are the pickles that you get yourself into? What behaviors allow you to do that? You must build moral guardrails, whether it's based on religion, philosophy, just pure discipline, or your own code that you make. You need something higher than just a feeling. It needs to be bigger than you. And you need to commit to it, even if it feels kind of woo-woo. It's like, I never judge anyone who's like commits to their like religious beliefs and stuff, because I think it's so easy for most people to fall to their flesh. This is like Christian language, but it's so easy for people to fall to their flesh, which then puts them into pickles and puts their life in disarray. It's so easy to see that it is much better to have a set of principles that guide you, that are bigger than your fleeting human desires and emotions, your flesh. So we've gone through why you're living the main character life. You feel addicted to it. The pickles that you get yourself into that make things even worse. How to avoid them. How to create systems. The most important things you need to do. We know that every filler episode starts with it's not that deep decision. So you want to create systems that allow you to not fall into that. One of them being ensuring you have a tracking method. Because if you don't have anything to look back on, it's easier to continue doing the things you're doing. This next year of your life does not have to be a repeat. You can change things right now. Literally right now. It doesn't matter what time you're watching this. And it doesn't matter. It could be literally the middle of the year, close to the end of the year. It doesn't matter. Alrighty, I'm going to end this off here. This is one of my favorite episodes so far. If you enjoyed it, definitely give it a like, comment, subscribe, hype the video, and I will see you very soon. In fact, you should probably watch the video that YouTube is recommending you watch next. All right, bye.